Good morning, Year 3. We're now on Chapter 9. Chapter 8 was when Tina had an idea, and Trevor would like to know what it is. So Chapter 9. Actually, it was a good one. I had known all along that it was Streaker's speed that we had to do something about. The roller skates would have been okay if it hadn't been for the fact that neither the skates nor the dog had any brakes. Tina's idea was to use our bikes, which at least did have brakes, and her skateboard. "We can't tie Streaker to your skateboard," I said. "That won't exercise her." "I'm not going to tie Streaker to the board. I'm going to tie her bowl to the board and fill it up with food." Tina had this big grin all over her freckled face. "We tow the skateboard and Streaker gallops along behind." "Brilliant," I agreed, "as long as we keep away from the main roads. We could use the track that runs along the edge of the field." "Let's do it." We paid a fleeting visit to my house to collect Streaker, her bowl, some food and my bike, and went back to the field. I let Tina take control since this was her idea. Anyway, I needed both arms to hang onto Streaker, who was tugging at her lead in her desperation to get at the dog food. Tina got some string, tied the bowl to her skateboard and filled it with meaty chunks. She fixed some rope behind her bike and the skateboard. "Wait until I'm a little way ahead and then let her go," she ordered. Tina climbed onto her bike and set off. I waited a few seconds and then unclipped the dog lead. Streaker was off like a starving Exocet missile. I leaped on my bike and set off after them. It was working brilliantly. Tina raced ahead with the skateboard skimming along behind her, and Streaker was just about keeping pace. But not quite able to reach her bowl. She had half a mile of tongue hanging out. I went whizzing after them and round the track, we hurtled. "It's great," I yelled. "Keep going." The track ran parallel to the road for a short distance with just a thin strip of tussocky grass between them. We were charging along this bit at a fine speed when a police car drew up alongside and kept pace with us. Sergeant Smug wound down his window. "Hey, what do you think you're up to?" he bellowed, and the car's siren burst into a high-pitched wail. Tina almost jumped out of her skin and swerved to one side. The skateboard lurched violently in the same direction. The dog bowl flew off, went sailing through the air, straight through the car window and splattered wrong way up on top of Sergeant Smug's head. As if that wasn't bad enough, Streaker went pounding after it. She zoomed through the window and immediately set about eating the dog food, even though most of it was still stuck to the sergeant's head. Unfortunately, he was still trying to drive his car. He did manage to keep going a little further, even though Streaker was bouncing up and down in his lap and taking great slurping licks at his face. Eventually, a thick hedge and a deep ditch stopped any further progress. Clouds of steam belched out from a punctured radiator. The siren gave a last feeble wail of despair and died. Sergeant Smug struggled out, flailing his arms like a hyperactive windmill in a futile bid to keep Streaker at bay. I threw a glance at Tina and noted that she looked just like I felt, nerve-numbingly horrified. It was definitely going to be prison this time. The end result of all this was that Tina and I paid yet another visit to the police station. Only we had to wait until a second police car came, and a breakdown truck too. Sergeant Smug insisted on arresting Streaker and the skateboard and the dog bowl. "It's all evidence for the prosecution," he scowled. "You've got a meaty chunk stuck behind your ear," Sarge, one of the constables, pointed out, winking at me. That made me feel a bit better. Not a lot, of course, but it was as if somebody was on my side. Dad had to come and get us again. I thought he'd be furious with me, but in fact he aimed most of his anger straight at Sergeant Smug, who stood there drying his hair after having a shower and changing his clothes. Dad pointed out that 1, he was getting fed up with collecting us from the police station, and 2, it was not against the law to tow a dog bowl behind a bicycle, and 3, it was all Mr. Smug's fault anyway. If he hadn't shouted and set off his siren, Tina wouldn't have swerved. My name is Sergeant Smug, not Mr. roared the sergeant. Your dog has just wrecked my car. She tried to eat my head. If you can't keep her under control, I shall order her to be destroyed. You can't do that, snapped Dad. If anyone ought to be put down, it's you. Really, bellowed Sergeant Smug. I'm not the mad one around here. I reckon your dog's got rabies. She's totally crazy, and so is your family. Roller skates, mobile phones, skateboards and dog bowls, you're all loopy. One more episode like this, just one more, and I'll have your dog destroyed before you can say goodbye, Streaker, and you can thank your lucky stars that I don't have the rest of you put down with her. Now get her out of here. Chapter 10. It was weird. Now that Streaker was under sentence of death, everyone became very fond and protective of her. She had always been a pain, but she was also so bouncy and cheerful and well mad. And we loved her for it, really. We didn't want to lose her. Mum and Dad spoke to her nicely, and her predicament united us as a family. We fumed about the unfairness of it all, and I wondered if there was a European court of doggy rights. Dad even gave her extra meals. It didn't change the way she behaved, of course. She was still pandemonium with 4 legs, a tail and a woof attached. We were all very worried about her. I was scared to take her outside. I thought that Sergeant Smug or Charlie or the Alsatians might pounce on us at any moment. Tina and I both felt pretty depressed. The holiday was almost over, and it seemed inevitable that we would either get arrested or shoved in a bath full of frog spawn and other assorted gunge. We couldn't win. However, Streaker had to go out sometimes, and we went slinking up to the field in the evenings, hoping to avoid the Smugs. Then 2 days before the end of the holiday, I discovered a ray of hope in the field. Actually, it wasn't exactly a ray of hope. It was a small heap of junk that somebody had dumped at the edge of the field. There was some old stair carpet, bits of wood and some metal cylinders. I've no idea what the cylinders had been used for, but as soon as I saw them, I got the most amazingly brilliant idea ever. I grabbed Tina by the shoulders and stopped her. It's okay, I shouted. We shall never have to walk Streaker again. Has it got anything to do with mobile phones? Asked Tina. She has so little faith in me. No, I said, seizing a couple of metal rollers. We're going to build a dog exercising machine. A what? A dog exercising machine. For exercising the dog. Yes, I know what a dog exercising machine is, Trevor. How do you plan to make one out of stair carpet? First of all, you have to say, you're clever, Trevor. You're very clever, Trevor. You're the most clever Trevor ever. I know. Listen, we put these metal rollers at each end of these wooden planks. The planks will hold the rollers in place. We loop the stair carpet round the rollers. We make the stair carpet move round and round. We put Streaker on the carpet and it makes her walk, and we don't even have to leave the house. I have to admit that there are times when I astonish myself. I'm not big-headed or anything, at least I don't think I am. But the more I consider this idea of mine, the more I realised it was a mega fantastic. Not only would Streaker get exercise, it would all take place indoors where the Smugs couldn't get her and where she was safe. There was no dog food involved, no mobile phones. Even my parents would be impressed, possibly. Although I decided I wouldn't tell them right away. Have you ever noticed how your brain plays tricks on you? I mean, you'd think that by this time I would have known that none of our ideas had worked the way we had expected, and we had spent most of our time at the local police station as a result. Tina didn't exactly look overwhelmed. There was obviously a snag as far as she was concerned. How do we make the carpet go round? She asked. I grinned and felt all warm inside. This was the most mind-blowing bit of the entire plan. Yes. Easy. We used my mum's exercise bike. You what? We used my mum's exercycle. All we have to do is to connect the back wheel to one of the metal rollers, get on the bike and pedal. Tina whistled. I knew the idea would bowl her over. It was so beautifully simple. That's really clever, Trevor, she admitted. Won't your mum mind? She won't know. She's gone to aerobics. Then she does circuit training. She won't be back until the next millennium. Dad's up at the golf club. By the time they get back, it will all be working like a dream. We collected all the bits we needed and hurried back to our house. Streaker carried the roll of stair carpet in her mouth. If only she knew what we were going to do with it. The first bit was easy. We fixed the rollers at either end of the 2 wooden planks. Putting the carpet round was a bit more awkward. I cut it the right length and we sat there and stitched the 2 ends together to make a continuous loop. Connecting Mum's exercycle to one of the rollers was not simple. We tried using string, but that kept breaking. Then I had an idea. I told you I'm an ideas man. I had been in the car with Mum once when the fan belt broke. Mum did this really clever thing. She took off her tights and used them to make a replacement fan belt. It worked well enough to get us to the nearest garage. Tina didn't think my mum would be too happy about me using her tights. She's got hundreds of pairs, I said. She could put them on a giant centipede and still have lots left over. You hold this while I tie a knot. And that was that. We had finished. We stood back and admired our machine. It looked a little odd, what with Mum's tights driving the roller and a platform made from stair carpet with lovely flowers printed all over it. Tina climbed onto the exercycle and began to pedal. The carpet started to roll. It works. Brilliant. It works. Quick. Where's Streaker? The unsuspecting dog was fast asleep in an armchair. That was pretty astonishing too. She must have worn herself out in the field. I pounced on Streaker, carried her through to the dog exercising machine and put her on the roller track. She jumped off. I grabbed her and put her back on. She jumped off again. It's no good. She won't stay there. Look, you get the track rolling and I'll put her when you've got some speed up. She'll soon get the idea. Tina began pedalling and shortly the rollers were whirling and the stair carpet was clattering round and round. I hovered over the track, holding Streaker, waiting for the right moment. A bit faster, I yelled. Tina crouched over the handlebars and began to pedal as if she were in a Tour de France time trial. The carpet became a brown blur as it trundled round faster and faster. The moment had come. I'm going to leave it there. And then tomorrow will be our last day where we're going to read chapters 11 and 12 and finish this really funny story.